Let me ask you a question. Are either of these two applicable to you? Number one, do you have poor impulse control? Number two, do you find yourself putting off tasks often and struggling to find motivation to get started? If yes to either, stick around because in today's video, I am going to give you a process to combat both. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reece, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a method or a process that I myself use and I know many others do in some form or another that helps build motivation and helps to stop me from spending money unnecessarily. It's called the 2-week rule, and the 2-week rule, according to the Urban Dictionary, goes something like this. If you have been putting a task off for at least 2 weeks, then you can completely blow it off, because you've proven that it's possible to live without the completion of said task. As an example, you may have been meaning to investigate that weird sound coming from your car engine. But after 2 weeks, that sound is still there and your car has not yet resulted in a fiery explosion. Therefore, the 2-week rule applies and you can forget about it entirely, according to the Urban Dictionary. Now, I quite like the Urban Dictionary, especially for a laugh. It's very entertaining, but when relating it to the version of the 2-week rule that I personally use, it definitely is a little bit different. The 2-week rule that I use in particular has 2 aspects to it, and I'm going to break them down individually. Let's start with impulse purchasing. Now, I guarantee that you at some point in your life have been tempted to buy something that you may not necessarily have had the funds for in that exact moment. Or even worse, you actually did make a purchase on something that you definitely didn't have the finances for, or were not in a financial position to make that purchase at the time. In those moments of impulse, your body and mind will instinctively try to justify the cost, expense, or purchase that you're thinking about making because you want to buy that item. You want that to be a part of your life. You think it will add value. I don't want to say how much value, but you think it will add value. That's why you're trying to justify that cost, leaving you potentially, if you're not in the financial position to do it, regretful, and even worse, potentially financially stressed. The 2-week rule in the context of spending money is this. When you find yourself in these impulse purchase moments, instead of buying the item then and there, you walk away. And then the timer starts. In this moment, you are entering a contractual agreement with your brain and your body that you will not purchase this item until 2 weeks have passed. And then over those 2 weeks, take out your notes app, get a piece of paper, even better, do it by hand, and write down information about that product or item that you so desperately want to buy in this moment of impulse. You can write down things like the brand, who makes it, why you want it, how much it's going to cost you, what it's going to add to your life if you buy it. Write down anything that's relevant to the item. And if you're really committed to this idea because you have some serious impulse purchasing issues, I would recommend taking a photo and sticking it either in your notes, take a screenshot, stick it in your notes as well, or print it out if you do it by hard copy and stick it by that information that you're writing down so it gives you a reflection of what it is exactly that you're thinking about purchasing. And then once you have all these details down, put them somewhere that you will see them. Stick them on a wall. An example would be where your toilet faces in the room that you go to the toilet. Maybe on your fridge, or maybe on the back of your door if you sleep with your door shut in your bedroom. The idea is that it will give you a constant reminder over those 2 weeks to give you something to kind of reflect on about this item. And it will do one of 2 things. It will either make you, over that 2-week period, want the item more, meaning that purchase is actually justified in your mind. It's going to add value to your life. And assuming you're in the financial position to purchase that item, go right ahead, because you've done the discipline side of this action to really think about and mull over if you really want to buy it. The opposite, which would probably happen a lot of the time, it does with myself, is that you realize that you don't actually need that item. That in that moment, it sounded like a great idea, but ultimately it's probably not something that you actually need to spend your money on. And this has been a very effective method that I have used over the years, not with every little thing, but definitely with items that I would say are well over the $100 range and anything above $500 every single time. As long as it's not a limited edition collectible, it's something that I do this process with consistently, because the day that I do purchase that item, I make sure I'm financially secure enough to afford it. And I definitely make sure that it's something that is going to add value to my life, not just sit on a shelf after I purchase it for years and years and years, because I see people who do this and it's just such a waste of money. That money could be purposed to so many different things, such as investing and making you more money technically. So definitely the way to go about it, in my opinion, if you're someone who doesn't have good impulse control with spending your money, try this. The second aspect for this method, being the 2-week rule, is to help avoid procrastinating. And the first thing that you need to do is identify one of 3 things. Do you want to accomplish something? Do you want to get better at something? Or do you want to get back on track with your life in regard to something in particular? Examples for me in particular are that I wanted to learn another language, being Italian, and I wanted to exercise, or I need to exercise to stay fit and healthy. And just as a side note, you definitely can do this with another person. These are the types of challenges that might really need involvement from another person, which definitely will help build motivation, and just understand that you don't need to do it by yourself. And this is the point where you start your 2-week challenge. Now, this is going to be the most important thing I say in this video surrounding the 2-week challenge, because basically from here, every single day for 2 weeks, you are going to commit time to achieving this goal, challenge, whatever it is you're going to call it. But to actually achieve it, this is the point where you every single day need to put time into it. It doesn't matter if it's a 10-minute walk or a 3-hour run. Every single day you need to commit some portion of your time for 2 weeks to that challenge. One that I started at the start of this year was to read 20 pages a day. I am not someone who loves reading. I am not someone who has done a lot of reading over my life. I despise it. I really struggle with it. And I've committed to it. I started with 20 pages a day. Really not that big of a time commitment. I can definitely find pockets of time throughout my day, if not at night, to read those pages. And where am I at? Well, it's May when I'm recording this video. Not sure when it's going to come out, but I've read approximately 3 books a month. And we're not talking about little books. It's an arrangement of fiction and non-fiction books, but I am on average reading more than 20 pages a day. I've finished over 12 books now, so I'm ahead of where I should be, and I'm on track to do this for the entire year because I've actually found a passion for reading now. I really enjoy doing it. I think it adds value to my life, and a lot of the videos that I'm creating, a lot of the things that I talk about with my friends relate and come from the books that I'm reading because I find them so fascinating. I also want to note that there are 2 reasons why you are going to set a 2-week time frame or a 2-week time block towards putting in some effort to achieving these goals. The first is that anyone can do anything for 2 weeks. Even if it's a small portion of your day, 2 weeks really isn't that large of a time commitment. There are a lot of weeks in a year, so you definitely can use that time wisely. Number 2 is that 2 weeks generally, towards the end of that 2 weeks, gives you a sense of accomplishment. I found this with reading, I found this with learning a different language, I find this with exercising. When I get to that end point of those challenges, I want to continue going because I feel good about looking back and what I've accomplished. If you're someone who exercises regularly, think about the mental gymnastics that you need to go through to get yourself from your house to the gym or to the oval, wherever you're exercising. It's quite a struggle to build that motivation, even if you are someone who likes to exercise. But coming out of that place where you've just done that experience, where you've had that experience, the outcome is you feeling amazing about what you've just accomplished. So keep that in mind, that those are the 2 reasons why the 2-week time frame is a good starting point for people who really struggle to build motivation and people who procrastinate often. You can do anything for 2 weeks. It's really not that long of a period of time. And you should absolutely be reminding yourself when you do eventually start to just focus on today. Tomorrow is tomorrow. As long as you do that thing that you have set in place on that day, like today, for example, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow you can do it again, and then you can do it again. Don't think about 2 weeks from now, how hard it's going to be to continually do that. Just focus on today, one day at a time. I say this a lot in my videos, but baby steps, they work wonders. Just take steps, just start, and you will continually get there over time. You will build that motivation, you'll build that confidence, you'll build that skill, you'll build that routine. And the outcome will be you learning something new or you accomplishing a goal that you've really wanted to try and accomplish for a long period of time. And just as another quick side note as well, this video is going to tie directly into another video that I'm putting together called The Miracle Morning. There is a book about it. I will talk about the book and I'll talk about exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it when that does come out. So stay tuned. If this video comes out before that one, it will be linked down in the description below, hopefully by the time you see it. Otherwise, stay tuned for it because it's going to be a good one. So to wrap up this video, I just wanted to also mention that this rule, this 2-week time frame, is malleable. You can change it to work for you. If you are someone who's very disciplined, 2 weeks probably isn't going to be a big enough time frame for you to really get that sense of accomplishment. Whereas if you're someone who really struggles with time management, you have a really busy schedule, you might need to shorten it. The 2-week period is just a guide. Make it work for you. I personally have found the 2-week guide, the 2-week period of time, to work pretty well. And I know a lot of people who use it as a reference point, even just to get started on their first challenge or goal that they're trying to accomplish. Just keep that in mind. With that being said, I really encourage you to give it a go. I encourage you to try this and see how it works out. It doesn't matter if it's cringy. It doesn't matter if it is something that, oh, I already knew that. Use this as some inspiration to actually go out and try it. Who knows what you will accomplish? And hopefully from that, you'll stem into new goals and tasks that you set yourself. Overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what the challenge or goal that you're setting is. Have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.